And we're having an exciting conversation today with Dr. John Lott. He's a world economist and a crime expert. Welcome to the program.
Well, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
It seems like the signs of the times are around us. And as I flip through the news today, the stock market is dropping massively. Share with us a little bit about why you think that's happening.
Well, I suppose there are lots of things. I can't really comment on too much, but I think part of it is simply where people think the elections are going to go. If they think Kamala Harris is going to win and she's moved up recently, I think that affects it to some extent. I also think, people are worried about a recession coming too. I think both of those things matter.
Well, you recently wrote an article, an opinion ad on Buttigieg's bold crime claim doesn't hold up. Share with us a little bit about the idea behind that.
Well, we've seen this a lot with the media as well as Democrats, where they'll go and they'll say things like crime is down, but people incorrectly think that it's gone up. And my own view is that a lot of people in the media simply don't understand, and the Democrats, either willingly or on purpose, don't understand the crime data. There's two different measures, well, actually, three different measures of crime that we have. The two main ones are the FBI NIBRS data, used to be called the Uniform Crime Reports, which goes and looks at the number of crimes reported to police. And then there's the National Crime Victimization data, which gets a measure of total crime, both reported to police and unreported crime. And most crime isn't reported to police. And so it's been important over time to get a measure of total crime. Now, in the past, those two numbers have generally moved up and down together. But that hasn't been true from 2020 on. Over the last few years, they've gone in opposite directions. And so, you take the data for 2022, for example, the last year that the National Crime Victimization data is available. While the FBI showed a 2% drop in violent crime, the National Crime Victimization data showed a 42% increase in violent crime. And so, it's obviously one needs to go through the reasons for that. Partly is about a third of police departments have stopped reporting crime data to the FBI, and another 24% are only partially reporting it. The FBI tries to get an estimate for those things, but I would argue that they've been doing a pretty poor job. But I think there's another major reason, maybe even more important, and that is the fact that law enforcement in the United States has collapsed. And as it's collapsed, the rate that people are reporting crime to police has gone down. And you can see the collapse in just the arrest rate numbers. We've seen a drop in arrest rates across all cities, but let's just take large cities over 1 million in population. In the 5 years before COVID, the average arrest rate for violent crimes was 44%. It started falling in 2020. And by 2022, it was down to 20%. That's over a 50% drop in arrest rates in just a few years. We've never seen anything like that before. And what we've known for many decades is that when people don't think criminals are going to be caught and punished, they're less likely to go and report crimes to police.
So, why do you think there's such a drop in numbers and arrest rates?
Well, I think we've seen cuts in police budgets. We've seen huge numbers of retirements from police. We've seen district attorneys in parts of the country refusing to prosecute violent criminals and lowering what others have been charged with. We've seen the elimination of bail in many places. And we've seen left-wing and liberal judges releasing large numbers of inmates from jails and prisons across the country.
So
I
let's
don't think it's rocket science. If you make it so it's not risky for criminals to go and commit crimes, you're going to see more crimes.
So let's take it another step here. I mean, we recently see on the news the assassination attempt of former President Donald J. Trump. I mean, do you think the Democrats will use this as a poster child for assault weapon bans?
Well, I mean, I think the Democrats will use just about anything as an excuse for assault weapons ban. We see the assassination attempt using an AR-15. You listen to the hearings on it. Most of the discussion has been on, what types of gun control they can have, whereas gun control is really irrelevant. And if they had banned an AR-15, likely the damage, the harm would have been even greater. In fact, I think it's likely they would have killed him. AR-15 is a small caliber semi-automatic hunting rifle. And let's say they had, and in fact, in most states, it's not legal to use that to go and hunt deer because people are worried that you'll wound rather than kill the deer. Let's say he had used a standard semi-automatic deer hunting rifle, a 30-06. The 2023 or 22.3 caliber bullet in the AR-15 is 40% smaller than a 30-06 and has a lot less energy in it. One of the things that probably saved Trump's life was not just that he moved his head, but also that there was a gust of wind right at that time that moved the bullet a tiny, fraction of a millimeter or so. If the murderer had used a larger caliber bullet like the 30-06, it's less likely that would have happened. And also, you would have had the shock when you have a larger, heavier bullet with a lot more energy hitting something. You have a shock wave that goes through the body and essentially liquefies the tissue that's nearby. So he surely would have lost his ear, and if it had hit the back of his head, it very clearly would have killed him in that case. So, I mean, a lot of this discussion, you figure these guys just simply don't know what they're talking about with regard to ballistics or guns.
So, do you think that gun control would be an answer to stop the violence in America?
My concern is that a lot of gun control laws actually create the opposite problem. That what happens is that it's the most law-abiding good citizens who obey these laws, not the criminals. And to the extent that you disarm law-abiding citizens relative to criminals, you actually produce the opposite of what you'd like to produce there. I give you a simple example. Look at gun bans, either all guns being banned or all handguns being banned. The point I'm going to make applies to all gun control laws, but this is just a simple example. There's not one place in the world that's tried to ban either all guns or all handguns that has seen murder rates go down or even stay the same. Every single time that you've tried to ban all guns or all handguns, murder rates have gone up, and often by very large amounts. And, you may take a few guns away from criminals, but if you're primarily disarming law-abiding good citizens who obey the rules, you actually make it easier for the criminals to go and commit crimes.
Well, Dr. John, it has been an honor talking with you today. Thank you so much for coming on Faith Chats. God bless you, and I look forward to the next time we can chat.
Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
All right. You have a blessed day.
Same to you.